Hey, this is Scott.
And this is Rusty.
We want to tell you about our Patreon page.
We have a couple of tiers to choose from.
No matter which one you choose, circumcision will not be required.
Also, no matter which tier you choose, you will have our begrudging gratitude.
And let's not forget the satisfaction you'll feel supporting two of the great artists of this generation.
In addition, our patrons will have exclusive access to weekly post-show discussions, as well as our latest project, the Libel, the Bible.
A modern interpretation of the Bible as translated and written by us.
Keep an eye out for a free preview of the first 4 chapters of Genesis being released weekly, this month through our regular feed.
Visit us at patreon.com/libelthebible to sign up.
That's patreon.com/libelthebible.
Choose the tier that's right for you. And
Previously on Libel the Bible.
Rusty reveals the Libel the Bible Project.
Scott reveals he's the first human in history to be annoyed by a political comment he overheard in a bar.
Also, Moses pleads with the Israelites to obey Yahweh.
Scott calls for a Bible burning.
Wait. There's got to be more context.
It's a show about the Bible. If you start thinking contextually, everything falls apart.
Contextually, Rusty finally did something for the podcast and got promoted.
And now, episode 46 of Libel the Bible. Get the party started.
We're partying.
Who
are you?
What? Who's where? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. I'm Scott.
I'm Rusty.
What's up, Russ? So have you realized the value in Post-it notes now?
Yeah. Go ahead, Scott. Explain what happened.
Rusty's a stickler. Doesn't like to wait around and nothing. But, he likes to take the microphone home with him. And, yeah, he got halfway here to the studio and probably had to turn back because he forgot the microphone.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that exciting of a story. I mean, it's
something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would open the show with, but
we can
listen,
reset it.
I've been deciding to give Scott a little more creative freedom around here. So I let Scott lead off today, and sometimes the leadoff hitter strikes out and leaves it up to the cleanup hitter to fucking.
Happens often. Hopefully, I'm fast enough that I can scamper out like a shitty ground ball.
It doesn't matter how fast you are because, as I said, you've struck out, and now you're sitting on the bench in the dugout.
But what if maybe it was the third
You're
strike.
Just waiting to play the field.
It was the third strike, and the catcher dropped the ball.
No, you're waiting to play the field, and you're hoping that the next 8 batters.
Man, don't turn this around on me. I
something.
just want to ask you if you see the value in Post-it notes now.
I'm just trying to keep it funny.
Yeah, at my expense. Just saying you're a dumbass. You forgot some shit. Put a Post-it note up.
Definitely, yes. I apologize. It was at your expense.
How much? I don't know if we want to reveal finances on the air. Like, how much does one of these microphone setups cost us? Wasn't much, right? It was pretty cheap.
You're the one that purchased the microphones.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember shit though. I got a receipt somewhere.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It
wasn't a lot. No, like these microphones are like maybe $50-$60. Like probably you spent like
for this whole setup, right?
Yeah, for like the whole setup, you probably spent like around $100.
All right, so for $50 more, we could have a mic permanently here, and you can have one permanently with you.
Nah,
dude, you think about what it cost to turn around and go back.
Yeah.
Forget the fuel costs, which are outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking the time and energy and the frustration level it causes.
I mean, it was fine. Like, I dealt with it.
No, you did. I have to say you did deal well with it.
I mean, what are you going to do?
I didn't see anything on the news, like anything happening, like between you point A and point B. Like,
definitely not yet.
And nothing. My Citizen app didn't go off with anything crazy. Crazed microphone wielding guy beats up guy outside of Starbucks.
It's interesting that you let off with this because I thought I saw like you had like notes like about what you wanted to bring up like
I did
during the show. Oh, all right.
Oh,
yeah. And this was on those notes?
No, because I didn't know you weren't going to be here on time until you weren't here on time. I didn't go back to revise the notes. No big deal.
So what was on the notes that you wanted to talk about?
Because
I mean, I have some stuff I would talk about.
All right, you know what? Let me leave with something different. Let's pretend that didn't happen. So, how'd your family react?
How did my family react?
When you came home and told them about your big promotion last week.
Nobody cares.
Wow.
Yeah.
That hurts, man.
Yeah, I'm not supported.
That hurts, man.
Yeah.
And you had a big shitting grin on your face, and they just went about their business.
No.
Right?
You know what, Scott?
She was churning butter. He was playing.
I'm actually lying.
He was playing Nintendo.
I'm sorry, I'm lying.
What do you mean you're lying?
Can I be honest with you?
Sure.
I really didn't tell them because I really don't care.
All right, you leave me their number before you leave. On your way home, they're going to find out about it.
What was I promoted to? A level 3?
Level 3
plebe
podcaster.
Podcast.
Well, you went from podcast
How did
to
I
intern.
skip level 2? And
No. It works. 3 is the lowest, and you got to go up to 1.
Like private third class.
Right, yeah. So you got to work your way up.
That's fucked up.
What do you mean? What, do you got to work the way up?
No, just the whole class system in the Army. Like you're third class. You know what I mean? Like third class is like a euphemism for piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're private third class. This is private second class and private first class.
Yeah, but what came first, though? The stigma behind the term? Well, for instance, I was thinking about this just the other day. You know, I struggled not to use the word retarded, but I've been really thinking about it.
Goofy. I've landed on goofy for now.
I like the word goofy.
Like it's a substitute, you know? So I've been using goofy, but it doesn't have the same impact.
Yeah, so now, like, we're not supposed to say retarded because it's like, it's you know, because it refers to people that have, like, what used to be okay to be called a mental retardation. Right?
Well, it was a medical term, right?
Right.
And then it got hijacked by people who started calling people with mental disabilities. They started using, like, the R word. And then that became, like, a word that you can't say anymore.
Well, but why, though? Because, like, if you're doing something that's like, yo, what are you retarded?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm saying, like, you're acting like somebody with a legitimate mental retardation.
Are you asking me to justify it, or are you asking me why?
Here's what I'm worried about.
Okay.
And I think we dealt with this before. Okay, fine. Now the word's been hijacked. So now we don't call retarded people retarded anymore. We call them something. What's the word?
Mentally challenged.
It's not handicapped anymore either, right?
Well, handicapped. No, it's not. It's physically challenged or
differently abled.
It's disabled.
But we don't call them retarded anymore.
Yeah.
So if I want to call you retarded because you're doing something just, stupid, who am I insulting by calling you retarded if we don't call anybody else retarded?
Right.
Right, what?
Right.
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 So who am I
I'm
insulting?
agreeing with you.
So why should I limit my use of the word? Like, all them assholes fucked it up. They used it in a bad way. I'm just, if they're no longer retarded, calling you retarded is not a reflection of them, and it's not an insult towards them. Because what's going to happen is, now eventually people are like, what are you, mentally challenged? And eventually they're going to have to change that word because, now you're insulting the actually mentally challenged people.
Right.
But then if you stop calling them mentally challenged, how is calling you mentally challenged any kind of, offense to them?
Right.
I'm just saying, man. It's complicated, man.
I mean, it's not complicated. You're correct on a pragmatic intellectual level, but you are also part of a society. And what society has decided was that this was a word that was used as a slur, and, like, they don't want people using that word anymore. The bigger problem is this, Scott. Remember when we were kids and you used to get, like, schoolwork back and the teacher would mark it with, like, red ink? Well, at a certain point, they were like, you can't use red ink anymore to mark, like, papers because red ink has, like, a negative psychological impact, right? But here's the problem. When you replace the red ink, you're going to replace it with, let's say, black ink. But eventually, black ink will become the psychological fucking problem.
Perfect analogy. Exactly
so,
what I'm talking about.
We can't use the R word anymore. And by the way, I'm not saying R word because I don't want to say the word, that you're saying.
Because you're better than me?
I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying it. You know what I mean? So it's
well.
more that I'm trying to get into the habit of saying the R word rather than saying the word.
Mm-hmm.
So, so now it's not going to be that word. It's going to be another word that people will tease. Because people tease and make fun of and are assholes, and it'll just become another word. And the R word will seem tame at that point. You know what I mean?
I like goofy, man. I'm going to go goofy.
Yeah.
It's a fun word to say, too. It's almost hard to keep a straight face saying the word goofy.
Yeah. In one of my scripts, I have Cain calling God goofy.
Do you think a retarded cartoon dog is going to get mad eventually that you're calling somebody goofy?
Huh? Oh.
Goofy!
Goofy. Actual goofy.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
You're goofy.
Yeah. I'm just still like stunned by how many R bombs you've dropped.
But it was in context.
No,
like,
I get
I wasn't
it.
calling
No.
anybody.
Listen,
I was saying
Scott.
it's a frank discussion about something I'm concerned about.
Scott.
And if we can't even have the discussion,
Yeah.
we can't even use the word in the discussion, fuck you. No, you're going to find some reason to hate me regardless.
No, listen. I could see. This is like a genuine good faith conversation you're having.
I bet you when I run from office, they're going to...
When you run from office, because that's what you said.
Yeah,
when you run from office.
For office,
Yeah.
watch how they fucking take it, like splice it together like I'm just dropping R-bombs on people.
Yeah. Scott, I know what you're doing.
What am I doing?
Well, you're upping the ante because last week you called for good old-fashioned Bible burnings, and you're like, that's pretty controversial. Like, what can I do to top that? I'm going to start, dropping the R word. What's next week, Scott?
And that's why
Scott, what is next week?
That's why people...
Scott, no, we need to talk about what is next week.
All right, we got to do it on air? Next production meeting. If you can show up on time for it.
Yeah, okay.
All right. What else? What's going on with you, man? I've ranted enough.
I don't know. I've been really getting tired because I pretty much run our Twitter account.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing a lot of Elon Musk shit on Twitter. A lot of
Shocking.
stupid shit. So I'm not going to discuss those idiots. I'm not going to discuss any of the people who are spending their day retweeting or tweeting about Elon Musk. Because both sides of that fucking discussion, that's some vapid fucking shit. Because there's real shit going on in the world, and to be concerned with Elon Musk is nonsense.
Don't do that.
But it doesn't matter. I don't want to get sidetracked. Because here's the ultimate point, and you can fucking argue this one. So this brings in a whole other set of people. Okay. This other set of people are these people. Man, I haven't used Twitter for 10 years. Or fucking social media sites are toxic. You know what I mean? Those people fucking burn down Twitter, burn down all fucking social media is toxic fucking sludge. These people are the problem. They think in completely unnuanced ways. That's like saying disconnect the internet from everything because, pedophiles use it to fucking trade, kiddie porn through the fucking dark web. You know what I mean? It's yeah, that corner of the internet is there, but there's plenty of other fucking things on the internet.
I hear you.
PBS has shit on the internet you can go and look at. There's people who fucking help other people learn wood carving or fucking playing guitar. The internet is an incredible thing, okay?
Yeah.
And so are all of these social media fucking spaces. It just depends what the algorithm has picked up on you. Now, to a certain extent, I guess the algorithm shapes what you see also, but come on. You're following who you're following. So if you're seeing toxic shit on your Twitter timeline and you're making a judgment that Twitter is toxic and you're just making these fucking statements to everybody, fucking Twitter is a toxic cesspool where everybody's just oh, maybe that's what was on your timeline because maybe that's what you're fucking about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So, again, you could follow a lot of different things on Twitter. You know what I mean? You can follow astrophysicists who fucking post incredible information about the latest James Webb thing or cool statistics or random photos that they link to. You know what I mean? Or go through their fucking, who are they following? Go follow some of those people. You know what I mean? So, this rant, again, it's about those unnuanced fucking thinkers who just make general fucking statements like, oh, fuck Twitter, it's a fucking cesspool. You're a fucking cesspool.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
And you know, the guy that I had the fucking words with in the bar, had he been 20 years younger, he wouldn't be at the bar. He'd be posting that shit on Twitter.
Right. But I wouldn't see it because I wouldn't be following him.
And I think it's weird that you'd post on your social media of choice that your social media of choice is like a shithole. Like, why are you posting on it? Why are you there?
It's weird.
Well, to your point about a famous guy like what's his name, Nietzsche said, stare long enough into the abyss, and it stares back at you. You know, you are what you be. You know all that shit. Yeah.
Explain that to me.
When
you stare long enough into the abyss,
it stares back into you.
It stares back into you.
So like you said, the algorithm. Like,
what does that mean?
You're seeing shit on your timeline because you're basically bringing it into your fucking world. You're seeing all the fucking nasty shit that you're complaining about because that's what you're about.
Right.
So it's like.
So that's karma.
It's like, I guess karma's a way of
So
saying
Nietzsche
it.
fucking confiscated a simple fucking term, karma, and he fucking turned it into like a complicated phrase so that people in Europe who read his shit would get like hard-ons
how many years
and
ago
like
was that?
have like cocktail parties where they would feel superior to everyone because they understood what Nietzsche was saying, when all Nietzsche was saying is, you fucking get back what you put out.
He could have very easily said, when all you think about seeing is red cars, all you're going to see is how many red cars there are out there. Right? You know Nietzsche?
Do I know him personally?
No, yeah, you heard of him?
Sure.
How long ago was he around?
Like in the 1800s.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're simpletons now. We say calm is a bitch. No. He says cool shit like staring into the abyss.
He's like one of the inspirations for Hitler.
Oh, okay, man. Let me just rewind this. He was not cool at all.
He believed in like an overman, Nietzsche. The overman was a man like Elon Musk thinks he is. An exceptional human being who isn't bound by like normal fucking conventions and rules, or shouldn't be, because they know better, because they are the overman.
Interesting.
You know, so they can operate outside the boundaries of like the law because, you know, they're like, they know better than everyone. So that was the basic premise, I think. That was very much a part of that famous, what do you call it, novel, the Russian, oh my God, I'm fucking
Crime and Punishment, War and Peace.
Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. Very good, Scott. That's right, Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky.
I thought it was war.
So
what is it good for?
Raskolnikov, the main character of that, he's like, he thinks about Nietzsche and the Overman a lot in preparation for committing his fucking crime where he kills like those two women.
Interesting. No, I don't like Nietzsche. You know when I first read the quote? There was a show. I want to say it was on Netflix called. I think maybe you watched it too. Called Dark. It was a German movie.
I watched like 3 episodes, and then you know what? It's one of those shows. I'm sorry if I cut you off. Will that like break your train of thought?
No, not really.
Are you sure?
Yeah. This might. Just go ahead.
It was one of those. Sorry. It was one of those shows. 3 episodes in, I knew I was gonna have to like invest way too much time into it because I knew like I wasn't gonna get a satisfying enough payoff like quickly enough, and I was just like, fuck that. I'm not gonna do that.
I'll tell you this. I got through like the first season, and I had to take a break. I went back. No, I thought maybe I only watched a couple episodes. When I went back to watch it, I watched the whole first season. You know, like the shows that you watched it. And I'm like, I don't remember a single fucking episode because I blanked on it.
Yeah.
And part of it was in German. I don't know if I was listening to it dubbed or with subtitles. I don't remember how I was watching it. And it was deep. It was good. It was very intertwined. It was very twisted. Good shit. And I hated to say this, but because it sounds racist. I couldn't tell the characters apart because they were all like white German of around the same age characters, and I really could not tell them apart. I'm like, was this the guy that did this? Was that the guy that did that?
Right.
Whereas I think more in American media, we have such a diverse culture, and you know, I'm sorry, people don't want to hear this, but when you're watching a show, you go, who's that? The Chinese guy? Who's that? The white guy? Who's that? The black girl? Like that's how I remember.
Well,
when
that's how normal humans do it. But
I'm just a normal human. Man.
There's a subset of people who they don't see like color.
They're full of fucking shit.
Well, of course they are.
whatever. But part of the problem was I couldn't follow the characters, and it was about time travel, 3 different time periods. So it'd be the same character like from 1940, 1980, and 2000 or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, I couldn't tell. So I don't know why. Because in Nietzsche we put up Nietzsche. Oh, so that quote was like at one of the beginning of the episodes. And I was like, even the quotes are complicated. I had to like look it up to see because I couldn't read it fast enough. I had to keep going back to it and whatever.
What's this a quote from again?
From the movie Dark, the show Dark.
Oh, Dark.
It's a Nietzsche quote, but they put up his quote.
I just sometimes listen.
Wait. I also want, let me just clarify. Not that I'm racist that I couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah.
Because if it was something from like Sweden and all the characters were Swedish, I'd have the same fucking problem.
Yeah. There's an author. His name is Thomas Pynchon. Okay. For anyone who's listening right now, if you're into reading, but you've never heard of
nerds,
but you've never heard of Thomas Pynchon, go check out Thomas Pynchon. He is one of the most acclaimed writers of the 20th century. He wrote a very famous book. It was called Gravity's Rainbow. Okay. He wrote another very famous book called Mason-Dixon. He wrote a bunch of very famous books, okay? Here's the bottom line. I read some of these books. I read Against the Day. I read Gravity's Rainbow. It's a bunch of pretentious shit that makes you work to understand, okay? So, listen, I understand that there's a level of work sometimes that an artist, whether the artist is a songwriter or a painter or a dancer or a script writer or a novelist, they want you to work a little bit to understand their art. I get that. But there's a point beyond which pretension begins, and then there's a point fucking 100 miles even further away from that. And that is what Thomas Pynchon is. And that's what Dark, that whole fucking thing about Dark, that's what that is. It's like they're inserting Nietzsche. You know why? Because here's the connection. And it's like, it's an artificially created thing in the plot where they wedge it in. It's clunky. And once you start recognizing when shows do that, that's when you're like, you know what? This is just fucking.
And it gives a chance to pretentious people to have conversations about this shit.
Oh, it's so intelligent.
They're so much smarter and more woke or whatever the fuck it was. And what's funny is
it's German, right? It's probably subconsciously activating Germans into taking over the world again. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be real.
No.
Every 100 years or so, those fucking guys over there, they get itchy feet, and they're like, yo, we're sitting around. Remember that time when we were this glorious empire? It's starting to get to that yo, the conditions are ripe.
They are.
England has left fucking the European Union.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Nobody knows.
Russia fucking has invaded fucking Ukraine. There's a whole thing with NATO. China is fucking rising in the fucking, you know what I mean? And fucking Russia might fucking stop giving them fucking Germany oil. Yo, it's only a matter of time before Germany starts looking at Italy and fucking France. France is the first one to go down because what do they got? Crepes? You know what I mean? Sacre bleu! French jokes never get old in America, right?
I guess.
It's funny. I've been seeing more and more comedians or podcasters, but professional comedians who are podcasting, talking about traveling in Europe and France specifically, and how they really don't like French people. French people are just rude and not nice. They all say they're beautiful. Everyone in Paris is beautiful, but they're just fucking assholes.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Is that what you thought it was?
Sacre bleu! Yeah, there's a great scene in the fucking Simpsons. Remember when the Simpsons was great? When it was fucking great.
Yeah, when you were a kid.
There's that great scene where Lisa, I forgot, I'm not going to set up the whole thing, but she runs into class and she's all out of breath and she sits down and fucking it's French class. And she's like, oh, my God, French class? I'm in the wrong school. And all the kids are like, ha, 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 ha. And the teacher's like, no, 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 class, en français. And then the kids are like, oh. That was really, really good.
That's pretty fucking funny, man.
That's more like French pretension, like humor. Because we were talking about Nietzsche and like who's more pretentious than the French, really? I mean,
I don't know.
So now that we've offended like all of France,
now that you've offended all of France,
and maybe like parts of like French-speaking Canada.
Yeah.
And by the way, what's up with them? Like, let me talk about them for a second.
Here's how. Before you do that,
all right.
I always, if the French are the type of people you're making them out to be, I kind of feel like French Canadians are kind of like Americans are to old England. Right? So they like the breakaway French, where we like the breakaway English over here.
Well, no, because they like to think of themselves as like French.
Damn it. All right.
They want to break away from like Canada. There's always like these like separatist movements in Quebec. Yeah. Yeah, they're secessionists over there.
It's going to be like a Quebexit.
The problem is, look, the French.
Like Brexit?
I guess. That's funny. The French,
I didn't have to explain
I get their arrogance because they have like 1,000 years of history. And they were like a world power at one point, the French. So I get it, you know, like art, the food, the women.
Is that when like when you guys like it's like Honies and people are like, you got a lot of Gaul? Wasn't Gaul the former name of France?
Gaul, yeah.
Because they were.
You think that's where it's from? Probably, yeah. No,
I've been into that.
Again, anytime you bring something up, like,
yeah.
yes, that's the answer.
Right.
So France, I get like their arrogance, but French Canadians, like, bro, you're Canadian. You know what I mean? Like Canada.
Are they arrogant?
French Canadians? Yeah. They're worse than the French because, again, they're as arrogant, but without the history of the French. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you arrogant about?
They're curling the fuck out of shit.
You're good at, like, hockey? All right, you know. I'll give you that. You got some good hockey players.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No black ones, though, because we know how you did those guys.
No, not just them, but like First Nation people too.
Yeah, we talked about that already.
Yo, by the way, the whole Canadian like hockey system, like the youth system, like every like month there's like a new article about some fucking fucked up shit. Like, yeah. So
we talked about it, though. It's already on the list.
Yeah.
Stuff. So we don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know there were any like arrogant Canadians. I always, you know, especially you always portray them as like mountain people that are like just nice. They cover up their niceness, like their nastiness.
It's misleading. It's misleading. Anybody that says otherwise, go watch the 1972 Summit Series. It was when Canada played the Soviet Union in hockey. The Canadian players were fucking horrible. Like, they acted like horribly.
Well,
like they were swinging like sticks, like at referees. Like swinging, like taking full like axe swings at referees and just like stopping short of like hitting referees. One guy like axe chopped the ankle of like one of the best Russian players and like broke the guy's ankle.
When you say Russian, you mean Soviet?
The Soviets, yes. I'm sorry, the Soviets.
Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, because the Canadians have balls? They fought a war we weren't ready to fight? Yeah, they went at it. They went for it. Yeah.
Who, the Canadians?
Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking up the Red Menace, man. Fuck them.
Okay.
Well, we were hiding under our school desks, saying this will save us. Yeah, Canadians were taking it to the streets, taking it to the ice.
I mean, that's definitely a point of view.
Yeah. You go, Canada.
It's a point of view.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's wow. Is Yahweh like riling you up? Is that what's going on? Like you're all about like Yahweh, you're the highway?
Moses is saying is throwing out the warnings again. Yeah. Lots of fucking warnings. And what are we doing today?
We're starting with Deuteronomy 8.
You're so immature, man.
Well, I just said Deuteronomy.
Yeah, you know, you put the stress in the dude.
Sometimes it's stressful.
See, I say Deuteronomy. You like Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy 8.
Yeah. Is there anything that... No, you want me to start, Scott?
I don't know, man.
What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah, all right. A warning not to forget God in prosperity.
All right, so Deuteronomy 8. A warning not to forget God in prosperity. That's how it starts.
Because we haven't specifically warned you about this.
So it's funny because Moses is still like addressing all of the Israelites which is what Deuteronomy has basically been. It's just been like
Yeah.
Moses. But I feel like there's been a revelation.
Oh, coming up in this.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But
I felt
but,
it too.
But here, this is the ultimate gaslighting. Okay?
You love that word, so I know you know what it means. And yes, this is fucking gaslighting.
This is the ultimate gaslighting. He's basically like, yo, all of you fucking motherfuckers should be thanking Yahweh for making you wander this desert for 40 years, eating nothing but manna from the fucking sky, you know? Because he was teaching you all a lesson in humility. Now that you've been humbled, now you're like ready to fucking, enter fucking into this place and like, live your fucking life.
Dude,
what a fucking scumbag. I mean, really.
Moses says, remember the long way that the Lord your God has led you these 40 years in the wilderness. Like, how the fuck can we forget, man? It should have been a 6-day journey. Should have been 6 fucking days. We're around here for 40 fucking years. No, we forgot that. We fucking forgot that you did this.
Yeah. And he, like, when he closes it out, he's like so fucking condescending. He's like, know then in your heart that as a parent disciplines a child, so the Lord your God disciplines you.
Like, now you got to be insulting on top of everything.
Yeah.
Everybody's dead, by the way. All our parents are dead. All our grandparents are dead.
Yo,
Everybody's
like,
dead.
We're not the ones that kept disobeying.
We were born into this weird journey, right? Like, we just, like, imagine being born into this crap.
It's crazy. 40 years, man.
Let me tell you a story about your father. He died in the wilderness like everybody else's father.
What's weird is, here's what I can't reconcile. Biblically, it seems like people were living to be like 150, 160.
I thought he cut back on that at this point.
But scientifically, people were living like 40 was like a good long life back then. 40, 50 was like
Yeah, but
fairly old.
yeah.
Especially for people who were living out in the wilderness, who were Bedouins.
I would wonder if God granted you a 150-year lifespan, and if you led a life where you didn't get injured, you didn't contract an infection or anything, would your human body last 150 years, 200 years, however long some of these fucking 900 years these people lived? Back then, if somehow you could stave off infection, would you live that long? Would your body hold
No.
up? Why not? How do you know?
How
Some
do
of
I
them did.
know?
Some of them did.
No, none of them. Some of them did. Scott,
right.
man,
Okay.
do not
All
do
right,
not
all
read
right.
any QAnon shit
All
ever.
right. I'm just saying.
No, if you ever read a QAnon article, run it by me.
All right.
Let me see what you've been reading.
That's exactly what they told me you were going to say about it.
Okay.
So speaking of manna, he was like, he humbled you by letting you hunger, and then by feeding you with manna, with which neither you nor your ancestors were acquainted. I'm thinking, no, they probably were acquainted with it. It was like, who the fuck would eat this fairy flakes, right? What the fuck is this crap? There's some venison over there. I'm gonna snort this fucking dust.
Yeah. How long did they have to eat the manna for? Because at a certain point, they started taking... That's the problem. They didn't provide a really clear timeline while they were wandering through the wilderness, like... Because 40 years, like, it didn't seem like there were enough events. Like, yeah, we covered, like, some takeovers here, takeovers there. But, like, we skipped through, like, all the mundane shit that they would have been doing, like, on a day-to-day basis. Like, we didn't really get, like, the story of, like, what the Levites, the priests were doing. I don't know. Like, there was just a lot of detail left out of the journey that, like, we have to, paint ourselves.
It's funny you say that, because you were talking about pretentious books.
Yeah.
And like how you had to do the work, and shows like Dark, you had to do all the work.
Yeah.
I was like, imagine if somebody wrote a book 6,000 years ago, and for 6,000 years, there's like study groups on it.
People have been trying
doing
to
the
interpret
work.
it, yeah.
Like, why are we trying so hard to piece this shit together?
Yeah.
So fuck Dark and fuck this book.
The best part is, you know what the best part is? All right, here's the really best part. We've got assholes who pore over the Bible. And
I thought you just meant we have assholes. I'm like, yeah, I use it every day.
I guess humankind.
Yeah.
Humankind has assholes
That still holds up. Yes, we all have assholes.
that fucking pore over the Bible and like study it and underline it, and they're like, they just can't grasp something, right? And it's like, yo, bro, maybe that's because the Bible is just a collection of like tomes, and here are all the other tomes that like didn't make it into that like fucking edit because it wasn't politically, you know, expeditious or whatever the word is.
You had mentioned that previously, that these were just the books that passed muster.
Yeah, there are like hundreds of books.
Somebody sent me a list of the tomes that didn't make it.
You know,
they're readily available.
My understanding is, I don't know if this is fact, but I'm going to say this. I think it's fact, but I'm not 100% certain. There are gospels where Jesus was married to Magdalene and they had kids.
Oh,
but that wasn't like fucking, but that wasn't advantageous to Rome to have like a god, because they wanted to make him a god to justify their rule. God is fucking, you know, anointing Constantine to be like the fucking emperor, you know?
Oh.
So it wasn't advantageous for them to have a god who was of earthly, like, whatever, earthly flesh. That was like too, like, Greek, you know, like Zeus fucking, like, broads and making, like, minotaurs or whatever the fuck. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Greeks were fucking crazy, you know? Like, it's funny because, like, today we're all like, oh, the Japanese are, like, really weird. Yo, man, go look at some of that Greek shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what about the Japanese?
What? The Japanese are super fucking, like, freaky.
Oh, they're the ones with the panties and the vending machines.
The ones with the panties. Yeah. They have, like, tentacle porn. That's, like, a big thing. Even, like, dating back to, like, the 1800s. There's, like, portraits of, like, you know, an octopus, like, enwrapping a woman, like a naked woman with its tentacles.
Maybe there's some fact behind that. Maybe there's a true story behind that. Maybe there's, you know, shit that got lost.
There's fact behind everything, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, he mentions... The clothes on your back did not wear out, and your feet did not swell these 40 years. And you know what? It brings me back to people saying, you know, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And after reading this, I was like, you know what? They're right. Nobody said Adam and Steve, and they certainly didn't say Adam and Steve and the podiatrist.
No.
So maybe they didn't have foot problems back then. So maybe Yahweh was looking out for them. None of their feet swelled. But wait. You know why their feet didn't swell? I'm just thinking as I go, man.
Whose feet is he talking about? Is he talking about the generations that are dead already and aren't even going to make it across the Jordan? Or like this new generation?
And they can't even go, look at these bunions. What fuck you, man? But I'm thinking as we go here, maybe their feet didn't swell on this long fucking journey because they took 6 days. They took 40 years to do it. If you complain about your feet swelling, how lazy are you? You're literally walking 100 feet a day and stopping. Your feet shouldn't be swelling. I don't care how hot it is.
And by the way, let's not forget, it's not like they walked for 40 years, right? Like they had like a whole like structure. Remember, Yahweh instructed them, when we set up camp, this is how we set up camp. They were probably like better than the Roman army at this point of like march, like breaking down like their shit. You know what I mean? Like setting it up, marching, like 40 years like of training, you know? Yeah. Probably after like 5 years, they were like diesel at like fucking, you know, breaking down, getting on the move, breaking fucking and putting everything up.
Yo, they could probably build a tabernacle like a pit crew.
Yeah.
Like so literally like a pit crew.
So they would hang out. Like it wasn't like they were moving from place to place like every day. They would hang out for like seasons, I would imagine. Yeah. So Yahweh's like your shoes. He didn't do shit, man.
Yeah.
You know what?
Maybe the ground was real soft because it was covered with that fucking fairy flake that they were eating. Like There was manna. It was like shag carpeting, wall to wall manna. You know? Yeah.
I don't know. I think 40 years is an excessive punishment.
It brings me back to Red Dawn when the father's like, I was tough on both of yous. Now you understand why. You know, maybe it's something like that, man.
But look, ultimately, right, the moral is like, listen to Yahweh. And it's like, okay, I get it, but this is like overkill. Like, Yahweh's an asshole. Why did they have to make Yahweh such an asshole for us to listen to? Why couldn't they invent like stories that were more like positive and like show, like, you know, like making Yahweh like, oh wow, like that's someone inspirational that I want to follow.
I don't like the idea that you talk about why didn't they make up other stories like this is made up. I don't like the way you say like that, man. Listen, there might be parts missing from the tomes.
You're right,
but you know,
I mean, I don't know what I was thinking.
You know what they should have started with after the whole Genesis bullshit. you keep talking about the fucking, like, leaving bondage from Egypt. How about if we had some of the stories about how fucked up life in Egypt was? We could take this seriously. Like, thank you, Yahweh. Thank you. But, like, we hear nothing bad about Egypt. We hear this guy telling us now, after the fact, that I got you out of Egypt. I don't know. Pharaoh didn't seem like a bad guy.
Yeah, man. That's not a bad point. Like, what was their life like in Egypt?
Tell me a fucking horror story.
Well, I mean, look, there were. Remember, like, Moses saw an Egyptian, like, beating on, like.
Listen, I'm not saying there wasn't discrimination, but that's like the only story, right?
Right. You're right.
I don't know.
I hear you.
Give me a reason to hate Egypt.
Maybe that story is in another one of those books that they left out. They didn't want that as part of the story.
You know why?
Tell me.
Because
you know what I like? I like that you've already figured it out without having done any research. That's what I like about you. You don't need any of that.
I didn't even think.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even thinking about it until you just triggered me.
Drop the knowledge.
This is what happened.
Go ahead.
There was some horrors going on in Egypt. They had to get the fuck out of Egypt. But to include that part of the story, you also had to hear why the Egyptians were doing this to these people. You find out these people were fucked up. So Egypt almost had to do it, like self-preservation had to do it. So you leave that part out and just say, oh, yeah, remember how we were treated in Egypt? But why were you treated that way in Egypt?
It's their fault.
I don't know if it's their fault.
It's their fault.
It's just weird. That
I'm just saying there were good people on both sides.
Fine people on both sides. Yeah, I'm just saying. There's a reason why it was left out.
Well, look. You know what, Scott? We need a Bible discussion where someone is looking out for the Egyptians in the dialogue. You know, everyone just blames the Egyptians. So I'm glad that you have decided to step up.
It's real easy to tell a story when those people ain't here to tell their version of the story. You know what? No, it's just not. That's what a conspiracy theory is made of, right? Missing facts.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to Deuteronomy. We're still on 8. So after, like, Moses drones on about, like, you should be fucking grateful for learning humility and, like, things aren't so bad, like, your shoes are still, like, intact. He's like, don't forget, when you fucking get there and you're, like, a fucking success and you got your own secretary blowing you during fucking lunch, and you've got, like, an expense account and you get a black card, don't fucking forget who got you here.
Yep.
Do not forget to pay your fucking tribute to Yahweh.
Take it upstairs, man.
Yeah.
I like when he says, when you have eaten your fill and have built fine houses and live in them, and when your heads in flocks, blah, 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 blah. Wait, built fine houses? Don't you mean just take the house of the family you just fucking massacred?
Well, sometimes you're going to have to burn that house down. Sometimes,
the
like,
bloodstains don't come out.
Like, fucking maybe, like, spears are going to, like, do structural damage.
Right.
Like, there's going to be, like, some damage.
Right. Yeah, you can't kill a million
Plus,
people.
it's an expression anyway.
And you know what? Maybe he means, like, built, like you said, figuratively. I built this.
Yeah.
And built that means I conquered a lot of people to get this.
Yeah.
I built this empire, my little personal empire.
Right.
Yeah, and don't forget Yahweh. Who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness. And I'm like, wait, you led us through the wilderness? Motherfucker, you led us to the wilderness. We weren't in the wilderness until you put us there.
You kept us in the wilderness.
So again, I'm not calling the firefighter a hero when he was the arsonist that started the fire in the first place. So this is Yahweh doing that shit.
By the way, did you see the FDNY fucking what they did in Midtown this week?
High-fiving.
Holy shit, man.
I was in the bar.
Yeah.
7 days after the last incident, and it was on the TV.
Yeah.
The captions were off.
Yeah.
And the sound was off.
You need to hear.
Yo, I
fucking...
turned to people. I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm looking at, but that looks like some real hero shit right there.
Yeah, man. They were like on a high rise in Manhattan. and fucking they were holding a rope out of a window, and another fucking firefighter was a floor below on the ledge of a fucking high-rise holding on to a rope that was being held by another fucking firefighter, and that firefighter down below was holding a woman trying to, like, get her to safety. That is fucking hero shit right there, man.
I told people, like, hey, yo, look at this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, you know what? We pick on social servants a lot. We
joke, fucking
but
cops.
I'm gonna say, but well, yeah, you're right. That's what you
Fuck
do.
cops.
And but no, that was some real hero shit,
cops,
man. Wait.
What cops would have done is
call the fire department.
40 of them would have stood around, like on the ground, like at the bottom, like cracking wise, like the whole time.
I gotta talk about
and telling people to fucking like rudely, like
move along.
Rudely as possible.
I need you to back up.
Yeah, as rudely as possible, like controlling fucking traffic.
Yeah, but
that's what cops would have been doing.
Huge shout out to the FDNY. That was
it was amazing,
amazing shit.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So fucking Yahweh never would have fucking done some shit like that.
No. Well, he would have. But then you would have found out he started the fucking fire. That's the problem with him.
All right. So that gets us to Deuteronomy 9, the consequences of rebelling against God. And this, my friend, in the first line, right? Is this where we find out the big revelation? Is this what you were thinking? First line? No?
No, this isn't the big revelation.
Because for me, this is a big revelation.
Let's hear it. Go.
All right. So this is, again, Deuteronomy 9. It starts off, Moses, "Hear, O Israel," he says, "you are about to cross the Jordan today." So this is the day that they cross and become Israel? Is that what he's saying?
You know what? I believe so. What I would really thinking, if this is real life, you ever seen like 5 a.m. at Best Buy on Black Friday? When someone goes, we're about to open it, and everybody just stampedes. Like, Moses would have been trampled
awful.
At this point.
It's awful.
But Moses would have been trampled at this point. After 40 fucking years, fuck you, Moses, we're in.
Like, in real time, how long has Moses been droning on for? Like, this is like Moses' Woodstock. Is this like 3 days of droning on? Like, what's going on?
It's gotta be. No, maybe not.
Just all in one day, he's
This could
telling
be like
him
one
this?
conversation, maybe. Maybe we make it out like a filibuster because
Right.
we drag it a lot. We're dragging it out over 4 episodes for Deuteronomy. This could be 10 minutes.
But it's
I don't
more
know.
like one of those like Tony Robbins or like one of those like preachers from like, Sunday morning TV.
Wait, didn't Moses like not speak too good or?
Yes, that's why Aaron had to be brought into the picture. But this is this is Moses with all his fucks. Like all his fucks have been given away at this point. He's got no fucks left to give.
Do you think this like Moses sounds like a combination of like Trump and Biden? Like just almost
like a
indecipherable.
senile man who's just like lying about everything.
Lying about everything with a speech impediment.
Yeah.
And no offense to people with speech impediments. It's just a fucking joke.
Yeah.
FDNY heroes, nice.
Why don't you just call them the R word, Scott? All right. So they're going to cross into the Jordan today, according to Moses, right? But first, Yahweh's got to burn up some motherfuckers, because Yahweh hasn't burned up a motherfucker in a while.
But he does mention the Anakims.
The Anakims.
Which is like the...
You think that's where Anakin comes from?
No. It's like Nephilim.
Oh, so when I do it, it's a resounding no.
Yeah, well, because mine's like, there's a thought process behind it. You just, you hear a word that sounds like another word. Anakin? Like Anakin? Like, you just, like, wow.
All right, that's
wow.
fair.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. That's fair.
Likeable words.
There's a thought process behind it. I got you. There's no thought process. No,
that was totally knee-jerk.
No, I get it.
Listen, I have a lot of knee-jerk stuff.
No.
But in the time you say something... And my knee jerks in that small time. My thought process is doing 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I like it. Look,
well, you just like Anakin.
You went right for the stupid joke. Go ahead.
I don't know what was I talking about. Oh, so these are like the Nephilim light, right?
The Nephilim light.
Because
like they're described. I don't think they're not. But they're described as like big people. I think. Yeah. Let's get the record straight, Scott.
Yeah.
I think the Nephilim are like. They're like giants. They're like, let's say, 10 feet tall, 11 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're an actual, like, giant species.
They're the do-re-mis, yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, the Anakim, they're just like, you know, they're tall. They look like, you know, they're like an NBA team or some shit like that. You know, they're just like, they happen to be tall.
You don't think he's chilling at the bar, the girls were talking to him, and they're like, oh, you're kind of tall. And he's like, yeah, my great-great-grandfather's in the film. You know, they probably got some of the blood.
Everyone was wiped out in the Great Flood, man, except for Noah and his family. No one lived. Noah and his family, man. That's where we're all descended from them.
So then the film was right. That was before the flood.
Then the film were the cause of all the. They were like, when God saw it in the film, he was like, "What is this fucking abomination?"
See, don't fucking do that.
What?
It wasn't their fault they were born.
I didn't do that. Yahweh did that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you don't want to fucking have reproductive rights and be able to get an abortion, but then you want to fucking ruin the entire world basically because there's some tall people.
I'm going to describe the last 47 episodes.
No.
The last 47 episodes are me fucking basically deriding what God did, and then Scott deriding me as if I'm the one that did the derision.
Hey, listen, man, if the shoe fits.
What are you handing me? Why'd you hand this to me?
I didn't know if it was unplugged.
No, I knew it was unplugged. That's fine. There's still plenty of battery.
All right. I'm sorry I'm looking out for you quietly. Didn't interrupt the podcast over it.
I mean, whatever. Yeah. Listen, some of us don't think as good as Scott, you know, so we get distracted by things.
Okay, so then he talks about, know then today that the Lord your God is the one who crosses over before you. He's going to cross the Jordan before them as a devouring fire. He will defeat them and subdue them before you so that you may dispossess and destroy them quickly. Yeah. So these Israelites think they're some badasses. But literally God goes in, breaks all the kneecaps, and then they just walk in.
Not kneecaps. He's gonna rain fire down upon them.
And they're basically gonna clean up.
He's gonna like shoot lasers from his fucking spaceship.
Yeah, and they're gonna clean up the bodies. Yeah. And they're acting like they're tough guys.
Yeah.
Just listen.
You think that's the worst part?
No.
No, the worst part is coming up.
You know what? Why do I have a feeling that's gonna be a common thread in the Bible? The worst is yet to come.
The worst part is this. Moses is like, yo, by the way, just because you guys are the ones that are like getting into this like place that Yahweh's giving you.
This is the big reveal that I was talking about.
He's like, it ain't because like he likes you. So don't get like your head all fucking like filled with fucking romance about that.
This answers a lot of my questions.
Yeah. Why are they getting in, Scott?
They're getting in because one, he made a promise to the old folks back in the day. So he has to make good on that. But my fucking problem with these people is, like, why are you fucking these people up and taking their shit?
Well,
that ain't right. But now he explains it.
Yeah.
Yahweh's like, you're not getting in because, like you said, I like you. Mm-hmm. I don't even like you. You're a bunch of stiff necks. I don't like you. But I made a promise to your forefathers, and the people I'm destroying to make room for you are wicked. I'm destroying them because of them. And I was like, now it makes sense.
He hates the Israelites the least of, like, everyone. You know what I mean? Like, he hates all humans. Like, all humans are just, like, fucking horrific to Yahweh. But he hates the Israelites the least. And he made a promise to, like, their ancestors. And he's, like, going to fulfill it. And, like...
But here's what my whole problem with it was, like, if I ever had to have a conversation with somebody about, like, Israelite history, I'd be like, how fucked up is your people that you did this? But now they can quote this. It's like, we didn't do shit. Yeah. The people we killed were bad people. I mean, it's obviously propaganda, but I'm saying, but at least there's a justification now. Am I making sense here?
Sure.
Like, I thought they were just going in killing people willy-nilly, but Yahweh is now telling us, no, these people were bad people. I'm clearing them out because they're less bad. You're less bad than they are.
So this is a callback to when I was saying, like, the Bible isn't fleshed out. So when they're wandering through the wilderness, I'm sure there were stories, like, before they were going into battle where Yahweh, like, relates some shit to Moses, and Moses was like, yo, like, the ruler of this place, you know, he doesn't treat his slaves well, and, like, they probably had, like, a backstory then, you know, as justification for why they attacked. We just haven't seen it in the Bible.
That's interesting.
You know, until now, because maybe it's in another book. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's interesting because now you're almost humanizing these people to me.
Right.
Because now I'm thinking, maybe there were people in this congregation that are like, yo, why are we fucking these people up for their shit?
Right.
Like, they didn't do nothing
No, they
to
were
us.
probably propagandized,
And now, like you said,
the
yeah.
entire time.
Moses,
right.
wow, I never thought
They're
of
in
that,
a
too.
fucking cult, bro. Like, what do you think is going on? They're, like, wandering the
Honestly,
wilderness in a cult, like some guy and his brother, like, fucking, you know what I mean?
Wearing
Like,
crazy
they're in
outfits.
control. Like, look, I'm going to turn this into a snake. Look at this water. I'm going to make it red. Look at this cloud of smoke. And everyone's like, whoa. And then Moses fucking disappear. Well, that's a whole other fucking part, so I'll save that.
Yeah, there had to be a propaganda machine going. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. There's people today right here, like within a short radius of right where we're sitting, that honestly believe that Putin should annihilate everybody in Ukraine because of like stories they heard on Fox. You know, it's just crazy. So I guess you can justify anything, man.
And today, people have more options than just Fox. They don't need to be propagandized.
They don't have to
too.
listen to fucking Moses anymore.
Right. They could like go and look at like all other fucking options.
You can listen to the guy that goes, maybe they shouldn't
Yeah.
do that.
So people are worse today than the Israelites, actually.
That's right. Yeah.
The
It was
Israelites had
fucking
no
worse.
choice.
Yeah.
They were just fed that shit.
There was only one source.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then God is like, or Moses actually, Moses tells the Israelites, like, basically, like, I'm telling you this, I know you know this, but let's not forget how fucking stubborn all of you fuckers are. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you've constantly, like, provoked fucking Yahweh.
You know what I was thinking when I started reading this?
Yeah.
Moses is actually going previously on the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he breaks down completely. All the questions I asked, do you remember what happened at that? And you're like, nah, I don't remember. He actually goes back.
It's a whole fucking recap.
Yeah, it's a highlight fucking recap. Really.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what this is? I'll tell you what this is.
What is this?
All right. You're watching like a long running show and like one of the stars is like gonna leave. They've got a movie contract now. And the writers know. So this is like the last season. So they write like a huge story arc for the last season, and then the last like 2 or 3 episodes are like that character's like departure. So this is like Moses's like tribute. You know what I mean? But he's doing it to himself. It's like, because that's the kind of guy he is.
As much as,
Where's his wife and his kid? Didn't he have a kid? Remember the wife like circumcised the kid? Where is his wife and his child?
That was Moses?
Yes.
The foreskin on the foot?
Yes.
God, he's been around a long time.
Yes. Since Exodus.
Shit. I don't know where they are.
Moses is like a huge like part of like he's like the most important guy so far.
You remember when I told you Moses orchestrated this entire exodus from Egypt?
I don't even remember what the fuck did Abraham do? Like in comparison, Abraham like shook some guy's hand and they established like a well somewhere. Remember? And it was like, oh, that's a contract. Oh, Abraham like.
And then didn't you shit in that well? Was there some shit in the well going on?
Someone definitely shit in that well. This is anti-Semitism even back then.
So wait. I think we said long ago when Moses killed that Egyptian and buried him in the sand, he almost orchestrated this entire exodus just to cover his own tracks, like so he didn't get arrested.
Damn, that's like some fucking 4D chess.
So now I'm saying, like, you're asking, where's his wife and kid? We forgot because we got all this other shit going on. He's he's like shiny keys over here.
Yeah.
Like you're worried about mana. He's talking about fucking battles.
Yeah.
And someone's like, hey, where's your wife and kid? And he's like, you remember what you did in Horeb? Yeah, that was not right.
Are you saying he buried his wife and kid somewhere?
I'm just saying, where are they? Like you said, where are they? Wait. I'm just asking questions here.
Right. So in all like the confusion,
Yeah.
like everything, just oops.
You don't think somebody went, wasn't that dude married with children?
Damn.
Yeah.
That's some cold-blooded shit, man.
And maybe all the fathers, like Moses, you knew my father? Yeah, I knew. And like he killed everyone he knew because they knew his wife is gone.
Right. Yeah, Moses is always talking to like strangers, like the crab, like go fucking hang out with some friends. Oh, you don't got any friends.
Yeah. Wow.
Nah.
You think he's coked up? So he's so paranoid. Like he has friends he could trust. He was like, yo, Aaron, man, I killed my fucking wife.
It's not.
And Aaron was helping him out.
Yeah, he's on hallucinogens.
Well, whatever it is, but he's paranoid. He's got some paranoia.
Yeah.
Like he's got friends that would cover that shit up.
Yeah.
She was a nag. They all knew it.
Yeah. You think like every day during the journey in the wilderness, he looked back on like the day before he killed that Egyptian guy and like was like, why did I have to leave at that fucking moment? Like if I had just like, if I needed the bathroom, like I would have come across that and I still would have been living a life of fucking luxury, fucking overseeing Egypt.
Whoa, luxury? Why was it luxury?
Moses was living in the palace, remember?
Right.
He was like raised by like
he was
the
raised
Pharaoh's
as an
sister.
Egyptian, right.
Yes.
Yeah, in retrospect, he made bad life choices, I think.
Totally. That fucking decision changed his whole life, man.
And, I mean, we're not at the end of the story yet. I'm just wondering if, like, this entire congregation is thinking the same thing. Like, damn it, fucking Moses just could have stayed put, right?
Yeah.
We'd all be better off.
Yeah.
It'd be a different historic.
Yeah,
The
instead of
world
like
would be different.
instead of being under the thumb of Yahweh, they would be under the thumb of the Pharaoh. But it's like at least the Pharaoh is like,
He seemed reasonable.
yeah. It seems yes.
Right? Wasn't
They probably had more freedom
yeah.
of like personal like movement under Pharaoh and like what they could do.
Wasn't Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat under Pharaoh?
Under the original Pharaoh that didn't like enslave the Israelites. Joseph was under the Pharaoh that invited the Israelites to come. And he was like, he loved Joseph. But then like that's how Genesis ended. Genesis ended with Joseph calling his dad Isaiah to the kingdom of Israel. And then they arrived and Genesis ends and Exodus starts. And Exodus picks up like hundreds of years later where they're enslaved.
So Pharaoh was a name, and then it became a title.
We're back to that.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still on Deuteronomy 9.
Yeah. So
he's talking about how stubborn they are. And then he goes into like
I'm sorry. I just want to point out he's probably not saying it as nicely as you are. He's like these fucking stiff necks. I'm still fucking shut the. We are here. You're fucking here.
Yeah. So he talks about like that time that he went up to the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. It's funny because he's like, I went up to the mountain and I was with the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights, and fucking you people couldn't like wait, until I came down. And it's like, put yourself in the position of the Israelites, Scott. You've just escaped Egypt. You don't know what's going on. You're in the wilderness. It's like the first week. Moses, the guy that led you out of Egypt, is like, yo, chill out down here at this mountain, at the base of this mountain. I'm going to climb up this mountain. Me, like an old man in sandals and a robe. I'm going to climb this mountain now. I'll be back in a minute, right? All right? So you're like, all like, all right, like, okay, see you soon. All right. Let's say a week, 7 days, right? 7 days. You're like, holy fuck, is he going to come back, right? Like, it's reasonable after 7 days to start asking that. All
Absolutely.
right. After like 15 days, you're like, what are you thinking after 35 days?
And you're forgetting something else.
Yeah.
There was some women from another tribe hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Right? And they had the golden calf god.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, pray to our God, you get some of this putang, whatever.
No, you're mixing two like different stories. That was like a little later on.
Whatever, man.
But either way, here's the point, man.
Temptation of the flesh, man.
Like, it's not unreasonable for them to have thought they were never going to see Moses ever again.
Yeah, really. In modern day, people climb up Mount Everest and never come back.
I mean, really,
Now, he's climbing up a mountain.
He's
not
an
as high as
old
Everest,
man.
But there's a spaceship sitting on top of it. It's something we can't identify.
So, yeah. But, he's going to go through that whole fucking day. He's going to, like, lay a guilt trip on, like, the people. He was up there for 40 days and 40 nights. And fucking blah, blah, blah. I stopped God from wanting to fucking kill you. He's just like droning on and on.
God says, Moses says, and I was talking to God, and he was like, when they were acting crazy with the golden calf, he's like, get up with these fucking stone tablets, go down there quickly, for your people who you have brought from Egypt have acted corruptly.
Yeah.
They have been quick to turn away. Moses was like, people I brought? You orchestrated this whole fucking thing. I was better off leaving by myself. You had made me bring all of these stiff necks.
Whenever there's a problem, it's always you. Whenever like something good happens, it's I.
Yeah.
That's Yahweh in a
Yahweh
nutshell.
is like your way. It's like it's you way. Something. I don't know. We're gonna
It's
work on
Yahweh or the highway.
Yeah, we should name an episode.
Yeah,
that.
we should. Yeah.
Let me alone, that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under heaven, and I will make of you a nation mightier and more numerous than they. God, Yahweh at one point told Moses, let me just destroy these fucking stiff necks. And you, I'm going to make a fucking nation out of you. You, Moses.
You,
Moses. And he goes, no, they're savable. So now, two bad decisions. One, leaving Egypt in the first place, killing that Egyptian. And two, God was like, I'll get rid of all these fucks, and me and you go fucking rule the universe. And Moses again says no.
I mean, come on. I don't know if that's a terrible decision. Would you want to hang out with, like, Yahweh or, like, regular people? Like, Yahweh is unstable, man.
I don't want to hang out with these regular people that don't understand that Yahweh's unstable. I'm Moses. I've been up the mountain. I know that motherfucker's unstable.
All right.
Listen.
It's unbelievable to me. Why don't you just marry Yahweh?
In a world where there's two choices. Hang out with Yahweh, guy in charge, or hang out with a bunch of stiff necks that don't grasp Yahweh. If there was a world without Yahweh completely, yeah, I'll hang out with the Israelites. But there is Yahweh. Someone's going to lose here, and it's going to be the Israelites. So, yeah, bye. And they're all, wait, and think about it. Think about it, Russ. He killed them all anyway. These are all new. Moses doesn't know all these people. These are the sons of sons and sons.
Metaphorically, you're the guy in the prison movie who gets to prison and starts sucking dick like the first day. Because you're like, because you're like, yo, man, this guy, he protects me, you know, he keeps me safe, he gives me like fucking candy bars. And what am I gonna do? I'm gonna fucking hang out like in Gen Pop and get like fucked up by like everyone else? Nah, man, like this guy, he takes care of me.
Fuck, that's not a bad analogy. Yeah,
that's what's going on, Scott.
Yeah. Shit, you know I got that cool.
You're the prison bitch.
I might be in prison soon. I hope it's not day one. I hope I weigh everything that's going on.
Yeah. So then we get to like a recap of Moses and like him smashing the tablets.
You know, I remember it as like he dropped them like in like, holy fuck, what's going on here?
Oh, he was all angry.
He was okay, all right.
Yeah,
I was just wondering if he was like changing the story to make him sound like cooler than he was.
He smashed the tablets.
All right.
So that gets us to Deuteronomy 10, unless you got something more to say about Deut 9.
I do. 9:18.
Yeah.
Then I lay prostrate before the Lord as before, 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah.
I neither ate bread nor drank water because of all the sin you had committed. He's like, so I'm laying down before Yahweh because of you.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering.
He's laying a guilt trip on them.
But I'm wondering if what really went down was Yahweh said, don't you get the fuck up. You fucking sit. You lay fucking right there. I'm pissed at you and your people.
Mm-hmm.
And he's making it sound like I willingly did this. He got whatever you call that.
Well, he does have a history of playing like bad faith fucking like back and forth communication, because Yahweh told him like to say such and such, and then he went and he was all like, oh, like he acted like a big man, and that's why he's not getting into the fucking promised land.
If he was on American Idol, Paula Abdul would say...
Paula Abdul. You just said Paula Abdul.
Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
We'd be like, I like that you took the song and you made it your own. And maybe that's what he was doing with Yahweh's words. He was just making it his own.
Yeah, I don't think Yahweh wants that.
Really?
Yahweh gives very specific instructions for a reason.
Yeah. Before we move on to 10, and honestly, I don't know if I want to do 10, but we can.
All right. I could save 10.
The Lord was so angry with Aaron, remember Aaron?
Sure.
That he was ready to destroy him. But I interceded also on behalf of Aaron at that same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron still got dead.
Yeah.
Maybe you postponed it a little bit, but God still killed Aaron.
Well, in fairness, Aaron was a bit of a stiff neck. Because Aaron, someone that's that close to Yahweh should know better than to question, like, the fucking organizational structure. Because remember him and Sarah, Aaron and Sarah?
Sarah? Sarah, you said Sarah. Polo Sarah Abdul? See, that's what you did to me when I fucking stuttered over a vowel.
All right, I'm sorry. I said Sarah. My
That's
bad.
all right. Yeah, that's all right.
Sarah.
That's all right.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt my feelings.
Keep it moving, man. Keep it moving.
So, fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
Aaron
and Sarah. So Aaron and Sarah were scheming against Moses because they were like, how come he's in charge? So, and there were like other examples of Aaron like fucking around.
I guess.
So he had to find out at a certain point.
He did. You're right. He was like the head of like the SS.
He made
right?
like the golden calf, remember? And then he played it off like, like,
that's right. Yeah.
It's just like magic. Like I was just like doing something, and like all of a sudden, out of nothing, like this golden calf materialized.
I remember he was under a lot of pressure from the congregation. He caved to a lot of pressure, but then he still went out like a punk and lied about it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a lot of pressure. I think somebody was like, "Yo, Aaron, why don't you make a golden calf?" And Aaron was like, "Nah," and they were like, "Come on, man," and he was like, "Yeah, all right."
You remember House Party?
Yeah.
When Smooth walks up to like Kid, it was like, "Yo, why don't you show me that movie you did on the dance floor back there?" He's like, "Nah, man." He's like, "Yo, come on, man!" And he was like, "All right." Go back and look at House Party.
All right.
It's a good scene.
All right.
And then Moses kind of tells an exaggeration here.
Go ahead.
Then he goes, "Then I took the sinful thing that you made, the calf, that golden calf we're talking about, and burned it with fire and crushed it, grinding it thoroughly until it was reduced to dust. And I threw the dust into the stream that runs down the mountain." And that's where he ends the story.
Mm-hmm.
Are we forgetting about the part where you then gathered that water and forced the congregation to drink it? Like, he leaves that part out here. Because those people are all dead.
Yeah.
So he's telling a half-truth.
Probably from fucking like gold poisoning or something.
And I said that we're going to do Goldschlager.
Lead
That's where
poisoning,
Goldschlager
yeah.
came from. Yeah. He just leaves that part of the fucking story out.
Yeah. Well, it's propaganda.
Yeah.
You don't tell that part of the story.
And in 40 days, 40 nights, he lays prostrate because he was probably being punished by Yahweh. He wasn't laying down before him. He was forced down before him. Possibly. I wasn't there.
I mean, he was probably laying prostrate because after fucking climbing that mountain, he was pretty goddamn tired. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd take a nap too.
Remember that time I just laid down before God because I was dehydrated and fucking beat up? Yeah. You know what? I have notes on 10. If you want.
I mean, I have notes on 10 too, but
it's super short.
Yeah, no, I want to like let's
end on a high note.
Let's start next episode with 10.
That's a clunky way of saying we're gonna end it here.
But I'm saying because like it's like a short one. It'll be like a springboard into like the next part. You know.
Yeah, I like it. So
all right.
what else?
So
Anything else?
well, I mean, I haven't said. You know what we didn't do at the beginning of this episode?
What didn't we do?
We introduced ourselves, but we didn't say libel the Bible.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm 100% serious. You know what else we didn't do? We didn't talk about the Patreon at all, like promote that shit.
But we're gonna run the Patreon.
Like people
ad.
could be like people like now that we're talking about it, people could like just turn it off, and there's like nothing for them to look forward to past this conversation.
Well, I'll tell you this: we don't necessarily generally have to speak about the Patreon because we have a pre-recorded. We're in industry now.
Yeah,
we have a pre-recorded Patreon ad that we're gonna put in front of it anyway.
I know.
So we didn't really have to talk about that at the beginning, but we didn't mention Libel the Bible at the beginning. I know we
mentioned it.
We almost didn't mention our names.
We mentioned it in the previously on.
That doesn't count.
Why?
Because
we did.
When
not.
you say previously on Libel the Bible,
you were
that
like,
doesn't count.
When we started recording, you said I'm Scott. I said I'm Rusty, and then I was waiting for you to say this is Libel the Bible, and if you weren't gonna say it, I was gonna say it. But then, like, you like asked a question, or you went into like a thing
There's
about
a lot
something.
of yous, like you are the reason we didn't do it.
And then, like, we just never had an opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, because
Don't get loud. You're getting loud. Does
here's
not change
how
the
it
fact
works.
That you were pointing the finger at me.
I'm Scott. I'm Rusty. Whoever says the next word should be, "This is Libel the Bible." So if the next person starts speaking and those are not the words, by definition, that person fucked up. The person that spoke after I said, and this is Rusty, was you.
wait
And
till-
the words that came out of your mouth were not, and this is libel the Bible.
You just wait till next episode. They're gonna know it's libel the Bible.
All right.
Do you think tomorrow morning, like, when tomorrow after this was released, like people are gonna be gathered around the?
No, this
cooler?
isn't released tomorrow.
I
This
said
gonna-
I said if you followed, I said not tomorrow. Whenever this gets released
Oh,
the
okay.
next day,
Yeah.
are people gonna be gathered around the office water coolers, and somebody's gonna say, "Hey, you know what those jerks didn't do? I didn't know what I was listening to. They didn't mention libel the Bible."
I would hope.
This
I
could
would-
be.
I would hope that like there are people who don't listen by themselves in isolation. I would hope that there are at least like one group somewhere on this planet, just like a group, like 4 people, 5 people that all listen to the show that know each other and get together and talk about it.
I want to take it a step further.
Yeah.
I would like to think those 5 people eventually have a watch party, and they do it together. They listen to it together for the first time.
A listen party.
Listen. Well, you know I say things like that. You know, stupid
Like,
things.
Stupid
We get
things.
to it.
So do you think deeply or do you not think deeply? Or do you think deeply and this is what comes out of your fucking head?
Deep is relative, based on the gray matter each of us possesses.
Right. Well, I would like people to go check out our Patreon. I'm sure you already are familiar with it and you have decided whether or not you are willing to support us. But I'm going to keep bugging you to support us, please. For $5 a month, you would get a bonus show. So after we stop recording this, we're going to go and record another, half hour of conversation that we
FIP.
have. And you will have access to the Libel, the Bible. I've already written the first 9 scripts.
And listen, he's usually not a funny guy, but that is some funny shit, man. I'm telling you.
And you will have exclusive access to that. For now, the first 4 or 5 are up. I don't know when you're going to listen to this. Maybe all of them are going to be up. Maybe you're going to listen to this 10 years from when we're recording it. But they're not all going to be available in full.
Hell no.
So after a certain point, I will stop making them available. You will have to be a patron. So please, if you can, go and support the show at patreon.com/libelthebible. Patreon.com/libelthebible. Please support us. And I'm ready to say fuck you to the audience.
And I'm ready to say, Rusty, the work you do on this show is easily worth $5 a month.
I agree.
No, I don't mean from everybody. I mean, like, your contribution's worth $5 a month.
$5 a month. That's some fucked up true shit. All right, fuck everyone.
Peace.